Here's something beautiful about dogs that many people don't fully realize. They may not remember life the way humans do with long stories and detailed timelines, but they do seem to carry powerful emotional snapshots that stay with them. A certain voice, a familiar scent, the sound of your footsteps, the feeling of your hand resting gently on their chest. These moments may seem small to us, but to a dog, they can become part of the emotional map of a lifetime. That is why every ritual matters more than we think. The way you greet your dog when you come home, the calm tone you use when they feel scared, the quiet walk you take together in the evening, the way you sit beside them when they're too tired to play. These are not just habits. They are threads. And over time, those threads become a story your dog builds about you. A story that says, "This person is safe. This person notices me. This person is where comfort lives." And maybe that is what love looks like in a dog's mind. Not one giant moment, but many small moments repeated with care. Science suggests dogs hold on to emotionally meaningful experiences in a very real way, which helps explain why they can react so strongly to certain places, routines, and people. Their memory may not be built like ours, but their emotional memory is powerful. That's what makes this so touching as dogs grow older, because as their bodies slow down, what often remains strongest is the feeling attached to the people who made them feel safe, seen, and loved. In the end, your dog may not remember every toy, every park, or every single day, but they will remember in their own way how life felt with you. And that means your kindness is never wasted. Your patience is never small. Every loving act becomes part of the memory of home. There's a kind of touch many dog owners overlook because it seems too small to matter. It's that soft area along the side of the head where the fur near the eye blends into the skin before the ear. For many dogs, gentle contact there can feel very different from a hand coming straight down onto the top of the head. In fact, dog behavior guidance notes that many dogs are less comfortable with overhead pats and do better with calmer, less threatening touch around the side of the neck, cheek, or chest. American Kennel Club. And that makes sense when you think about how dogs experience safety. From the beginning of life, puppies are regulated through close physical contact, warmth, licking and grooming from their mother. Later, affiliative touch with trusted humans can activate the same calming systems. Research on human-dog bonding has found that positive interaction and gentle stroking are associated with oxytocin responses in dogs and humans, along with reductions in stress-related states. That means slow circular touch is not just petting. In the right moment, it can help shift the dog's body out of tension and into calm. PMC. There's also another layer to it. Dogs live in a world of scent as much as touch. Reviews of canine olfaction and pheromone signaling show that dogs gather and exchange social information through scent, including signals from glands in facial areas. So when you touch a dog gently in these more intimate zones, you're not only giving comfort, you're stepping into one of the most socially meaningful spaces in their body language and sensory world. PMC. That's why this kind of touch can feel so powerful. Not loud, not dramatic, just deeply regulating. So the next time your dog comes to you tired, uncertain, or quietly wanting closeness, try slowing down. Skip the quick head pat. Let your hand rest softly near the cheek and ear. Move slowly. Stay present. Because sometimes the most healing kind of love is not the biggest gesture. It's the one that tells your dog in the language their body understands best, "You're safe with me." There is a kind of love dogs can hear long before they fully understand the words. It is not really about vocabulary. It is about tone, rhythm, and the feeling carried inside a voice. When people speak to dogs regularly, calmly, warmly, and directly, something important begins to happen. The dog starts learning that human sound is not just background noise. It becomes connection. It becomes guidance. It becomes belonging. Over time, many dogs in voice-rich homes seem to grow more tuned in to speech patterns, emotional tone, and familiar phrases, not because they speak English the way we do, but because their brain is constantly linking sound with safety routine and relationship. And maybe that is why silence can feel heavier than we realize. A dog who is rarely spoken to may still be fed, walked, and cared for. But emotionally, something can go missing. Some dogs begin to stop offering as much eye contact, stop checking in as often, or stop trying to communicate in subtle ways. It is almost as if they learn that their social world is quieter than it needs to be. Not empty, but less connected. What matters most is not exaggerated baby talk or endless chatter. In fact, for some dogs, overly high-pitched or frantic speech can feel a little unsettling. What many dogs seem to respond to best is something more real, a steady, warm, familiar voice. The kind of voice you would use with someone you trust. A voice that says, "I see you. I'm here. You belong with me." And that may be one of the deepest gifts speech can offer a dog. When you speak directly to them, you are not just giving commands. You are including them in the emotional life of the home. You are telling them they are part of the group, part of the rhythm, part of the story. So talk to your dog. Not because they need a perfect sentence, but because your voice may be one of the clearest ways they learn what home feels like. There is a quiet little ritual many dog owners never fully notice, even though it happens almost every morning. Between the early hours of the day, often somewhere around 5 to 7, many dogs seem to do their own version of a silent roll call. They nudge your hand, they lift their head, and check your face. They wag softly, without fully getting up. On the surface, it looks small, maybe even a little annoying when you are still half asleep, but emotionally it may mean something much deeper. In the language of instinct, morning is a reset point. After a long night of sleep and separation, your dog seems to check the world again. Is my person here? Is my pack okay? Did we all make it safely into a new day? That is why those first few seconds after waking can matter so much. A soft word, a lazy touch, a gentle glance. To you, it may feel tiny. To your dog, it can feel like reassurance, connection, and belonging all at once. And maybe that is why ignoring this moment too often can slowly change something. When a dog reaches out in those first seconds and keeps finding nothing back, some of them begin to ask less. They stop nudging. They stop checking in the same way. Not because they love you less, but because connection, like any pathway, grows stronger when it is answered. That is the beauty of ritual. It is not dramatic. It is not expensive. It is just repeated love. So tomorrow morning, before you grab your phone or rush into the day, pause for 10 seconds. Touch your dog. Say their name softly. Let them know the pack is still together. Because sometimes the first gift you give your dog each day is not food or a walk. It is the feeling that they woke up exactly where they belong. If this touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who truly loves their dog. And in the comments, tell me, what is the first thing your dog does every morning when they wake up? In the end, the most important thing to understand about dogs is this: loyalty does not come from control. It comes from safety. A dog becomes deeply loyal when they live with someone who respects their body, understands their limits, and pays attention to what they need instead of forcing what is convenient. That kind of loyalty is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built in the quiet, repeated choices we make every day. The way we touch them, the way we speak to them, the way we respond when they are afraid, tired, overstimulated, or trying to say in their own silent language, "Please slow down." And maybe that is what makes this conversation so important. Because most owners are not trying to hurt their dogs. Most are doing their best with the information they have. They love their dogs deeply. They feed them, walk them, protect them, and try to make them happy. But love by itself is not always enough if it is missing understanding. A dog can be adored and still be overwhelmed, cared for and still be misunderstood, close to us but not always fully heard. That is why learning matters. The moment you begin to understand your dog's biological needs, how stress affects them, how boundaries protect them, how pain can hide behind behavior, how trust is built through consistency. You stop seeing your dog as difficult, dramatic, or stubborn. You begin to see the real story underneath. You see a living being doing their best to feel safe in a world they do not control. And that shift changes everything. Because once you know better, you cannot help but love better. You start noticing the small signals. The lip lick. The whale eye. The hesitation. The leaning away. The sudden quietness. The change in posture. You start respecting the pause instead of pushing through it. You stop asking, "How do I get my dog to tolerate this?" and begin asking, "What is my dog trying to tell me right now?" That question is powerful. It builds trust. It builds peace. It builds the kind of bond every dog hopes for. A bond where they do not have to defend themselves to be understood. A bond where they are not treated like an object, a toy, or a problem to solve. A bond where their needs matter, their fear matters, their comfort matters, and their no matters too. And in that kind of relationship, loyalty grows naturally. Not forced loyalty, not fearful obedience, real loyalty. The kind that shows up in the way they follow you from room to room, the way they sleep more deeply near you, the way they look at you when they need help, the way they trust your presence to mean safety. So maybe the message at the end of all this is simple. You do not need to become a perfect dog owner overnight. You just need to make a promise to keep learning, to stay humble, to pay closer attention, to choose understanding over ego and compassion over habit. Because knowing better is not something to feel guilty about. It is a gift. And when you use that gift well, you give your dog something every living being longs for, a life where they feel safe, respected, and truly known. One of the hardest things to accept about loving a dog is this. Even at the end, many of them still try to protect us. Veterinary hospice guidance notes that dogs nearing the end of life may withdraw, hide, or sometimes become unusually clingy. That does not mean they love you less. In many cases, it reflects fatigue, discomfort, or an instinct to carry weakness quietly for as long as they can. Lap of love. Calm. And that is why the final days can feel so emotionally charged. Many owners sense that their dog is still holding on even when the body is tired. Science cannot prove that dogs wait for permission in the poetic way people often describe it. But we do know something deeply meaningful. Dogs recognize their owner's voice, and familiar human speech matters to them. Studies show that dogs can identify who is speaking, and veterinarians, who guide families through euthanasia, often encourage owners to hold their dog, stroke them, and talk gently throughout the process. PMC. So maybe the most honest version of this idea is not that your dog understands every word, but that they understand you, your tone, your presence, your steadiness. The voice that has been the soundtrack of their life may still be one of the last things that helps them feel safe. A soft whisper, their name. A calm "I love you." A gentle, "It's okay to rest now." Those words may not work like magic, but they can turn a frightening moment into a familiar one. lapoflove.com. And maybe that is the sacred threshold, not giving your dog a speech, but giving them the same thing you always have at your best: comfort, safety, and love. Because in the end, your dog may not need perfect words. They may just need to hear the voice they trusted most one more time. If this spoke to your heart, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who has loved a dog deeply. What makes a real bond between a dog and a human is rarely the flashy stuff. It is not the expensive toy, the perfect treat, or the photo that gets everyone's attention. More often it is built in the quiet moments that almost no one else sees. The gentle touch when they are tired. The calm voice when they feel unsure. The pause when they need space. The way you greet them in the morning, as if their presence matters. Those small acts may seem ordinary to us, but to a dog, They become the emotional evidence of love. And that is the beautiful part. A dog's life is made of moments, and we have more power in those moments than we realize. Every routine, every tone of voice, every respectful pause, every act of comfort becomes part of the story your dog is writing about you. A story that says, "This person is safe. This person understands me. This is where I belong." That kind of bond cannot be bought. It is built slowly, quietly, faithfully. Science helps us understand why this matters, but the heart of it is simple. Dogs remember how life feels with us. They may not hold on to memories the way humans do, but they absolutely hold on to emotional meaning. And when love is repeated in ways their body and mind can trust, it stays with them. Sometimes all the way to their final breath. So, if there is one thing to take from this video, let it be this: never underestimate the power of a small loving act. What feels tiny to you may become part of the deepest memory your dog carries for life. If this message touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who loves their dog like family. And in the comments, tell me one small ritual you share with your dog that feels like pure love.